Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So I finally ranked my Season 6 episodes. Just careful for spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll be talking about really specific stuff. So here we go. Okay, so let's talk about some Season 6 episodes. They were all pretty strong, but sometimes what you would have is you would have like amazing sequences in certain episodes. Like the finale was amazing, but the first half of the finale was like the best thing ever. Then it kind of started to lose steam towards the second half of the episode. So, still an amazing episode, but some parts of it were just vastly better and more interesting than the others. So as you tend to see in certain episodes, like there's some episodes that just as a whole are so much better than others. But then as you get towards the bottom of my list, like the episodes that I didn't feel like were quite as strong, there's still really strong moments in those episodes. Like the Hound payoff with the Brotherhood without banners, with the Arya stuff being not so satisfying. So you have like awesome Hound stuff, not so awesome Arya stuff. So the way I did this is that I just did my favorite episodes first, and then it worked my way down to my least favorite episodes. First off, favorite episode, hands down, The Door, episode 5, big Hodor payoff. So there are really like 4 or 5 different types of scenes in any given TV show. There's like a plot-based scene where they advance the plot. There's character-based scenes when you just have like amazing moments between characters that don't necessarily have anything to do with the big macro arc. Then you have big payoffs, and then you have like combinations of those different types of scenes. So episode 5 was kind of like a confluence of delivering on big plot reveals like, this is how the White Walkers were created. This is why Hodor is named Hodor. The protagonist of the episode, Bran, caused the death of the MVP of the episode, so he goes out with a blaze of glory, maybe to return as a White Walker, everybody wonders. So episode 5 was just like this really amazing character and plot-driven episode. So you learn a whole bunch about the mythology of Game of Thrones, and it delivers on big emotional moments like Hodor. So that's why, in my mind, it's like the best episode. Number 2, of course, Battle of the Bastards, episode 9, probably the most cinematic episode that they did all season. This actually, I think it's the only episode that they submitted for like almost every single Emmy category available, like directing, cinematography, pretty much anything that you could win an Emmy for. That happened before the episode aired. So like when HBO was just like looking at the raw footage of this, they decided that on a technical level, on an emotional level, production level, this was their best episode of the season. And just on a production level, I tend to agree, but as a fan who's trying to follow the story, like I'm mostly interested in the story and what's going on with the characters. That's why episode 5 was my favorite. But episode 9 was a technical masterpiece with a lot of great character moments in it, but largely it was kind of like the stunt episode. Dan and Dave were like, we wanted to do a big pitch battle. We hadn't really done an episode like that, so that's what this was planned to be. The real reason that it's not tied for first is because it throws logic under the bus in order to get to some of those big payoffs, and some of the green screen moments didn't really land, like Daenerys saying Dracarys. Like, I wanted to give you this really badass Terminator moment. She's acknowledging, almost breaking the fourth wall, saying what a badass she is, when really, I would have rather she like screamed the line, like screaming at them as if she were the Mad Queen, just kind of playing with your head a little bit. There's this funny thing that they're doing with Daenerys on the show, where they're making you think that she's this really wonderful, sweet character, but she also has a little bit of the Mad King in her, like a Targaryen edge to her. But the problem is that, like, as on a trope level, she's the childlike empress. So Emilia Clarke isn't quite as good at delivering that intensity in the way that Lena Headey is. Like next season, Lena Headey is going to be the most amazing Mad Queen, and there are Mad Queen Daenerys moments, but Emilia Clarke isn't quite as good at delivering them as Lena Headey is. She doesn't quite have Lena Headey's intensity. So things like that are why I chose this as my number 2. Number 3, of course, was the finale. Like I said, the first part of that episode was probably one of the most fantastically filmed sequences all season. Like cinematic on the level of episode 9, but then as the episode gets on, it peters out just a little bit. You get that really awesome Little Bear moment. But when you see the Sansa payoff, you see what's coming with the Littlefinger storyline, you're like, oh, this is gonna be bullshit drama. Littlefinger's gonna twist Sansa, she's gonna do something stupid, she's gonna cause all kinds of drama in the North where there doesn't need to be drama. You also have this really awesome payoff with Arya, but in doing so, it kind of throws logic out the window. It's like, okay, don't pay attention so much to the minutia of this. Really what we're going for is Arya taking revenge for her family in really gruesome fashion using these awesome skills that she learned. So awesome moment a la Frey Pies, but it also suffers from some of the problems of episode 9 in that it wants to get to a big payoff, but it doesn't necessarily earn that moment. And it also causes confusion for the Jaime storyline too, because, you want Jaime to be the Queen Slayer because of all the things that he's seeing Cersei do. He's like, oh my god, history's repeating itself. But if Arya can jump across Westeros with no regard for time span, like if all these timelines are moving independent of each other timeline, then how does anything make sense? So it was an amazing episode, but the execution just wasn't quite as good as, say, like episode 5 or episode 2. But hands down, my favorite finale of all time. It's going to be really hard for them to top this because you're so excited about what's going to be happening with Cersei next season, and you kind of have a really good idea for where all the storylines are going. You know Daenerys is going to bring dragons to King's Landing and just lay waste to everything. You know White Walkers are coming. You know Jon Snow is the king in the north. So you're just sitting there, and it's like this really awesome Hitchcock episode where everyone's sitting at the table, there's a bomb underneath, and it's ticking, you know it's going to go off, and you're just waiting for it to explode. Next one, episode 2, Bran's first big WTF flashback. Well, oh my god, we're going back to Winterfell. We see Jon Snow's resurrection, which wasn't as big of a surprise because, like, if you've read the books, then for about the past 4 or 5 years, you've been like, yeah, he's definitely coming back. There have been so many people that have been resurrected. Beric Dondarrion has been resurrected 6 times. No way he is not coming back. So not as much of a surprise as it was a great suspenseful episode because you know that he's coming back. You know, the wildlings are coming because Dolorous Edd is like, I'm going to go get some help. I'll be right back. And then he just goes away for a while and you don't hear anything. You're like, oh, he probably went to get the wildlings. We have a giant. You guys are screwed. Next big pick, Blood of My Blood. Kingslayer flashback. This was such an awesome Jaime payoff because you hear the story in season 3. Nikolai Coster-Waldau said that when he went to audition for Jaime and was talking to the producers, they had to explain the character to him, like, oh, who am I going to play? Who's this Jaime Lannister person? They explained his arc right up until the hot tub scene where he explains to Brienne why it is that he's called the Kingslayer, why he did what he did, his motivation for that. And Nikolai Coster-Waldau just said that his mind was blown, was like, oh my god, this is such a compelling character. He's one of the best characters who you know is good, but continues to do terrible things. So you're hoping for like a Winter Soldier, Civil War type redemption with Jaime's character, which would mean that logically he would become the Queen Slayer to save King's Landing from Queen Cersei. But, you know, because we have all this Arya jumping around, crossing names off her list, Cersei is on her list, it causes some confusion with that. So speaking of Arya, Arya's play was really big in this episode. I love the play. You could actually extract the play from all the episodes and just air it as its own episode by itself. It's just so fun the way it comments on the action of what's been going on the past couple seasons in King's Landing. Arya sitting there critiquing it. Oh no, it didn't happen this way. Cersei would be really upset. She would want revenge for the death of her son. This was also the episode that Benjen came back in. And it was, also one of those moments where the show kind of twists the books a little so that it's an awesome TV payoff. But yay, Benjen's back. So next big episode, number 7, The Broken Man. Jaime versus the Blackfish was so much fun. The Blackfish is such an awesome character. Just the way they set that up. It was a total Monty Python episode too. Him just sassing him from the battlefronts, just not giving a shit about anything that the Lannisters could possibly do to him. And it giving us our best one-off guest character of all time. There's no way they're ever going to top this. Ian McShane is the best one-off character in the history of the show. No way that's going to be topped. The Little Bear does not count because she's recurring. She's appeared in multiple episodes. Ian McShane was just in this one episode. So next big episode, my number 7 pick, episode 3, Tower of Joy flashback. Really awesome payoff moment for book readers. Really awesome setup for show watchers because they're like, oh my god, it's young Ned Stark. He's gotten this badass fight. Who is that woman crying in the tower? But all the book reader, this is a bigger book reader episode because you're like, oh my god, they're doing the thing. So if you've never read the books, the way we learn about this scene is when Ned Stark is having a dream about it. So George R. Martin teased it really early on, and it's taken this long to pay it off. Like, people have been wondering about it since the first book came out. And they bring Rickon Stark back, so that was like another big WTF reaction at the very end of the episode. Umber betrayal. Oh my god, they killed Shaggy Dog. How dare you? Number 8, episode 4, Daenerys Unburnt. Awesome payoff. We also had a really awesome book moment with Balon Greyjoy dying on the bridge. That was the most exciting thing that happened on the Iron Islands in that episode. Theon returning to Pike is a big plot moment, like, oh my god, he's come home. But for my money, the bigger payoff was Balon Greyjoy dying because in the books, it's one of Melisandre's visions. 3 false kings dying, 1 dies on a rainy bridge, and boom, Balon Greyjoy being killed by his brother. But number 9 pick, the premiere. The reason the premiere is so low on my list is because it was mostly all setup. There was some really funny Monty Python jokes with the Dothraki horse lords, But the problem with them is that they're more caricatures than characters, meaning that they're so over the top that you can't help but assume that Daenerys is going to defeat them. Like they keep rubbing her face in the dirt. You're nothing. You're queen of no one. We don't care about you. And you don't see Drogon, so you're like, okay, very clearly Drogon's going to show up. She's going to kill all these people. So it's almost like they threw these horse lords under the bus so that they could deliver on a bigger payoff later. But finally, my least favorite episode, not a terrible episode, but the weakest of the season for a couple of logic reasons and execution, in that episode 8, No One, is the payoff to the Arya storyline. And while they did a lot of interesting things with Braavos, it's a really interesting place. The Faceless Men, the House of Black and White, is a really big, important part of the mythology. The way the show dealt with it was really unsatisfying. Like the way Arya killed the waif, that happened off screen. They wanted to have the Jason Bourne episode with her being chased all over the streets, but they didn't want to give you the magazine kill. Like one of the best kills in the Jason Bourne series is when he kills the other assassin with the magazine. So it's just showing you what a badass he is. Like he doesn't need a weapon to be deadly. So they gave you a big Jason Bourne setup without the amazing payoff in this episode, which is why it's the weakest of the season. It's like, okay, well, what was the point of all this? We could have just flashed to Arya's storyline, seen her training a couple times, and then had this moment at the end where she comes back. We didn't need to waste entire episodes in Braavos for a storyline that was really just intended to make her a hardened killer and bring her back to Westeros. So if there was any filler this season, like if you want to say any of these episodes are filler episodes, all the Arya stuff was filler. And I feel like the whole reason why they felt like they had to do it that way, why they couldn't just include her in a couple scenes like Samwell was in like 2 scenes this season. They could have done that with Arya and accomplished the same thing. But the reason I think they chose to double down on Arya is because she's a Stark, and they want to present this as like Starks versus Lannisters in a very binary type of way, even though that's not necessarily the way it is in the books. They just want to tell you that the Starks are like the protagonists, and this season was kind of like the rise of the Starks, so they felt like they had to include Arya because she is a Stark. So let me know in the comments, what were your favorite episodes of the season, and which episodes did you think were the weakest? And while you guys think about that, there's going to be some Comic-Con stuff happening in the next week or two. Comic-Con is in about 2 weeks. I'll be doing a preview video for all the Game of Thrones stuff I'll be doing. Don't worry, there'll be a whole bunch of videos explaining, what's going to be happening, because Comic-Con is like this really big multi-day event with a ton of stuff happening each day. So be sure to subscribe to get all that stuff. And there is a new round of the giveaway now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's just a $20 Amazon gift card. I'll announce the winner in the next Game of Thrones video that I post. So let me know if there's any special bonus videos you guys want me to do in the next week or two. Just let me know in the comments. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here to learn all about the Azor Ahai prophecy and how the show is messing with you just a little bit, just having a little bit of fun interpreting the prophecy in different ways. And you can click here for new Suicide Squad footage and kind of a preview of what's going to be happening at Comic-Con. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.